is so mirroring the experience that you're having. Especially when you maybe didn't pick it up for that reason. I picked up this book because I thought the cover was pretty, frankly. I got it maybe in 2019, like the year after I graduated college. And this book is just all about like transitioning from one stage of life to the next. It's a book about being an artist, and uses, fisting something doesn't have the same meaning. And I just could not get over it. I couldn't get over it. I couldn't let it go. And she used it like 4 times across the course of the long ass book. And every time it just popped me out of the story. So that's a super bad reason to hate it. And I also really didn't like it. My favorite book related trigger is probably like tapping on, like finger tapping, not nail tapping on paperback books. I really love. I also really love just like the mechanics of looking through a book. Like, so sorry. Like when people look their finger and then they turn the page. Dreams. I love, yeah, like page flipping. When people are like looking through books, that to me is chef's kiss. Yes. Okay. But also I just love like book related ASMR. I just feel like it's so relaxing. I love hearing what people are reading and what they liked, what they didn't like, all of that. Fascinating to me. Okay, what's your favorite author and what draws you to their writing? I was really stumped on this question. I usually kind of read books one-off. Like I don't read a lot by the same author, but the author of Valencia, Michelle T. She is an amazing writer, and I love the way that she writes. She also wrote one of my favorite tarot reference books that is called Modern Tarot. If you are a tarostress like me, or even tarot curious, this book is amazing. The way that she writes just like really solidified my understanding of the cards in a really important way. I want to read you my favorite entry from it. It's kind of long, so I'll abbreviate it a bit. But it is her description of the Ten of Cups. So each card has its own section. And yeah, so I'll read it to you. I'm gonna begin by, I'm not is true of every other day. We are incredibly lucky to have one another. Oh my god, that almost made me cry. Anyway, I love the way that she writes. I love the way her personal experience just seamlessly fits into her writing. It's so genuine. Yeah, I love it. I've also always loved the Ten of Cups, so it's a special little heartwarming moment for old me. Okay, let me get my little notes back up. Okay. So, Michelle T definitely falls in with my favorite authors. I also really love Miriam Tafes. I don't have any of her books with me, but she wrote Women Talking, which was recently turned into a movie that I really want to see. That one is about a group of Mennonite women who realize that they are in the night being assaulted by the men in the village, and they're trying to decide, and they're trying to decide whether or not to leave everything they know, and they don't speak English, they don't write, they and go out into the world or stay. And it's an amazing book. She's an amazing writer. She also wrote A Complicated Kindness, which is one of my favorite books by her. It's kind of more of a coming of age story about a young girl and her father and her absent mother. And it's just a really beautiful story. She's also, the character in that is also a Mennonite, but she's not in a strict Mennonite village. She lives in a town with people who are not Mennonite. They're casual Mennonites. I don't know. And then I have yet to read All My Puny Sorrows, but it's on my shelf. She writes about her, she is a Mennonite, or she grew up in the Mennonite faith, and it is such an interesting view of a different way of living, a different experience of life. I saw her speak once, and she was amazing. I just really enjoy her writing. And the next author who has just been a favorite recently is TJ Klune, who wrote The House in the Cerulean Sea, which is a beautiful, beautiful gay-ass book. It's so funny. It made me laugh. It made me giggle. I love this book. It's so sincere. It's so heartfelt. It's really charming. Yeah, highly recommend. And then I'm in the middle of Under the Whispering Door, which is going to be an experience for me. This book is basically about a man who is experiencing the afterlife. He's died, and he is he's about to be kind of taken to what's next, but he's in this middle kind of purgatory, I guess. It's kind of he's at this tea shop called Charon's Crossing, and yeah, it's don't reread books often, and I will reread essays in this book. It's also a book of essays, which is fun. He talks about mental health. He talks about his experience as a black man in the US. He talks about his experiences of music. He writes about Carly Rae Jepsen. He talks about Gerard Way. I don't know. It is so comprehensive. If you want to read a book that is just so incredibly close to my heart, like, read this one. I can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah, I've seen him speak 3 times, I think. He came to my class in college and I lost my shit. I literally didn't know what to do. I was so excited. I love his writing. I could literally talk about it forever. I love that book so much. So that one changed, like, had the biggest impact on my life in terms of, like, my own creative process and, like, expanding my world of the possibilities of writing. I wrote one of my favorite pieces of writing that I've ever written as a response to, like, a prompt from when I was in class, like, reading that book. Anyway, great book. The next one is a very different vein, but I would say as impactful. This is One to Watch by Katie Stayman London. This is a lovely, lovely, like, romance novel about a plus-size fashion blogger who gets invited to be the star, I think, of a show called Main Squeeze, which, like, is kind of like The Bachelorette. And this book contextualized so many things that I feel like, first of all, I don't read a lot of books about plus-size characters, and thus reading a book about a plus-size character being, like, a plus-size person, like, not, I don't know how to talk about my body. It's a very weird thing to do on the internet, but I'm very tall, and my body's really big. I don't know, and existing, I like the way I always talk about it, is like existing in a big body. Like, it's a very different experience than existing in, like, a thin body. And I never read a book about someone's experience, like, even a novel, like, even a fictionalized book. And I was so surprised by how this book made me see myself and my desires differently, because I think so rarely we see plus-size people, fat people, people in bigger bodies, desire portrayed in a way that isn't negative and isn't demeaning, but, like, everyone who experiences desire, like, everyone does, and it's not, it's not negative. Anyway, so I just love this book. It really made me think about myself and my body and my relationships and romance and love and all that really differently. And it's like a romance novel. It's amazing. Highly recommend. And, oh god, the next book also kind of had a big impact on me writing-wise is In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. Fuck, y'all, this book, another, like, quintessential queer reading, I would say. But it's really heavy, it's really hard. It's written in an incredible way in which, like, each section is, like, so it'll be like Dream House as confession, Dream House as demonic possession, Dream House as haunted mansion, Dream House as deja vu, and so, like, every is, I think, abuse and domestic violence and emotional abuse and manipulation are not so talked about in queer contexts, but they are still prevalent. This book helped me contextualize experiences that I had that I didn't have kind of an outlet for or an understanding of. This book is beautiful. It's really heavy. It's really beautiful. The next question is, do you prefer reading physical books or ebooks? Why? I prefer reading physical books, if you can't tell. I do have a Kindle. I got it on Prime Day. I was inspired by Haley Jean. I think she posted on her Instagram, and she was like, "You can get a Kindle." I was like, "Oh shit, girl, I should." But I had a Kindle that my grandma gave me for my high school graduation, but it was pretty old and pretty small, and I never read on it. And I really like that this one has blue, the lighting gets warm at night, so it isn't as hard on your eyes. It doesn't have blue light, you know what I mean? I was a little bit on the fence when I ordered it. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it, but I've used it a lot. And yeah, so big physical books person, though I do have a Kindle, and I liked it. I like my Kindle for getting books from the library, from Libby, and not having to purchase books. But I do love purchasing books, but not always something we can be doing. The next question is, how do you choose what book to read next? Absolutely vibes. I kind of sometimes alternate heavy book, light book, but sometimes you just want to read a bunch of fluffy books in a row. Sometimes you want to read a lot of serious books in a row. I think it kind of depends on the season for me. I think it depends on a lot of things, so it's really just vibes. Do you have any reading rituals or habits? Not huge ones. I just got glasses, which is fun. I hadn't been to the eye doctor in a long time, and then when they were like, "Yeah, you need glasses," and I was like, "Oh, that's when my eyes have been hurting." So I always have my glasses with me, and I keep a book in my bag literally at all times. And what I was gonna say is that with the Kindle, it's super nice because I can just throw those in my bag and it's teensy tiny, and I have a million books with me. But I think my biggest reading ritual, reading is not really ritualized for me. I read whenever I want to read, and sometimes that's before bed, sometimes that's during the day, sometimes that's when I was working on my lunch, sometimes it'd be in a coffee shop, I don't know, it's just anytime that I'm feeling the urge, so I always keep a book with me because I never know when I'm gonna want to read. My other reading ritual is that I never have more than one book going at the same time of a certain genre, and I mean genre fiction, non-fiction, not romance, fantasy, no. I allow myself to have one fiction book going and one non-fiction book going, and both of those must be finished. That being said, I don't often DNF books, but there have been a couple recently started annotating more. I have 2 books to show you that I annotated differently, so I'll show you one that is kind of more like my vibe, honestly. This is the book I'm reading right now. It's called The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. It's amazing. It's very good. It's also very beautiful. The way that I'm annotating this book is that I am simply highlighting the things that I think are poignant to me. I've highlighted like almost every page of this book, I'll be real. Sometimes I will highlight, as I think I've mentioned, sometimes when I have a page, if I'm reading a book where I'm not highlighting a lot of things, and I have something I really want to remember, I will take my little highlighter marker and run it down the edge of the page, and then it creates this little strip of color so you can find it in the book if you'd like. Another thing I wanted to say about highlighting is that I got these little highlighters, you know, normal little highlighters. They're like pastel colors, they're cute. They're aesthetically pleasing as hell. But the pen that I love to use to highlight is this Tombow brush pen that I've had forever. There's just something about a brush pen and highlighting with it that is so nice, and it highlights it in like this really elegant way. Yeah, and I love a gray highlighter. Like, it just, like, I can't deal with bright, like, neons are not my vibe, clearly. But yeah, so this is honestly what I go to more often than not. A book that I went way over the top on highlighting and annotating was this Sarah J. Maas book, Throne of Glass. As you can see, like, the tabs are color coordinated with the cover, and like, I made a whole like key. Let's see. Oh, okay, this was my key for like what things were. I don't know. I cannot commit to that level of annotation if I'm being real with you, but it's fun sometimes. Yeah, just change it up. Okay. What is a quote from a book that you still think about often? There's not a lot of quotes that live in my head, but one of them that I always thought was from a book from Le Petit Prince, from The Little Prince. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's not from Le Petit Prince, but it is by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Is that how you say his name? I don't know. The author of this book. The quote says, "Of course I'll hurt you. Of course you'll hurt me. Of course we'll hurt each other. But this is the very condition of existence. To become spring means accepting the risk of winter. To become presence means accepting the risk of absence." This is my dad's copy of Le Petit Prince, The Little Prince. It's really special to me. Okay, what is the last book you read that you couldn't put down? It was Open Water by Caleb Zuman Nelson. This was actually a recommendation from Fleur, and it similarly was a book that just hit me in the right moment. It found me when I needed to be found, and it's beautiful. The writing in this is so lyrical, so engaging, and really raw, really vulnerable. This is a love story about 2 young Black British people, and just being in love, vulnerability, all of that. It feels like reading someone's journal. It's searing. The other one was Department of Speculation by Jenny Awful, which I think I read on recommendation of Mauve ASMR. When they were young and Gideon loved, Department of Speculation was their code name for all the thrilling uncertainties that lay ahead. Years later, when their marriage reaches a sudden breaking point, the wife tries to retrace the steps that have led them to this place, evoking every was like, nah, I messed up. And then I started reading it and I was like, wait a minute, this book was lovely. I loved the story. I got really invested in the story of it, and like, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. It was a lovely, lovely little romance novel. It was like heavy in a good way, like weighty. I don't know. It was really good. I enjoyed it. It's a very like summer kind of love story. It's about a cabin and a lover boy at the cabin, and you know, all of that. Lost love of your youth. A book that disappointed me was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I mean, I think maybe I could have predicted this. I think I talked about it before, but I just did not like this book. And it was like so hyped on TikTok and everyone was talking about it, and so I was kind of like, felt like I kind of couldn't look away, you know? I was like, okay, well, like, I guess I need to read it, and I just didn't enjoy it. I felt like it was a really kind of emotionally manipulative book. Yeah. It just was so gratuitous. So, I don't know. I don't even know if it disappointed me. It just was like not good, in my opinion. Okay, the next question is, what book has the prettiest cover? And this was the first book that I ever bought just purely aesthetically because I thought it was beautiful and I loved the way it felt in my hands. This is The Overstory by Richard Powers, which is also an amazing book. I've started it multiple times and I've never finished it. But my old boss really loved this book and I've heard really amazing things about it. But it is a book that like kind of, okay, let me just read it to you because it's hard to describe. But from the roots to the crown and back to the seeds, the Overstory unfolds in concentric rings of interlocking fables that range from antebellum New York to the late 20th century timber wars of the Pacific Northwest and beyond. There's a world alongside ours, vast, slow, interconnected, resourceful, magnificently inventive, and almost invisible to us. This is the story of a handful of people who learn how to see that world and who are drawn up into its unfolding catastrophe. It's about trees, I think. I'm pretty sure. Like trees and humans and like the ecosystem that we all exist in. It's the times that I've started it, I've enjoyed it greatly. It's just slow, and slow books for me can be hard. But I really hope that I will read it one day, and I think I will enjoy it when I do. Okay, this book has the tingliest cover. The next question is, which book has the tingliest cover? And it's this one. So, I don't love hardback books, but this one is like squishy a little bit, and this book is called This One Wild and Precious Life, which I know has been like a meme. It's by Sarah Wilson. I've actually never read it. I would like to. I love all the different like finishes on the cover, how it looks kind of like a collage, and it's like this kind of squishy material, and I just, like, ASMR wise, to me this book is top tier. I really want to read this book actually. Maybe this should be my next book after, my next nonfiction book after The Creative Act. I think I mostly also bought this book for the cover, but it's okay. The book that has the ugliest cover, in my opinion. That is the next question. I'm sorry, I'm no Their love affairs and almost love affairs, brawls and boats, Irish immigrants and Salish stories, mud and laughter. There's a Department of Public Works that gives haircuts and counts insects, a policeman addicted to Puccini, beer and berries, and a philosophizing crow. Readers will close the book more than a little sad to leave the village of Neonaka on the wet coast of Oregon, beneath the hills that used to boast the biggest trees in the history of the world. Oh, like being a little Pacific Northwest girly, this, and also loving Winesburg, Ohio. This book is amazing. It's this beautiful portrait of this small town and all the people and creatures that live in it. It's simple and mundane, and also just scoops like the life out of like and like shows it to you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean like in a bad way. I mean it just like it gives you all of this life and like kind of asks you to make sense of it, and it's beautiful, 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 beautiful. But I don't love the cover. I really feel like this is a like me tell all, where I'm like literally giving you every book that's changed my life. But I think that that's good for both of us. The next question is, what is your favorite trope? Enemies to lovers always. I love hating someone and then kind of falling in love with them. So, you know, that's my favorite trope. What's a book that you've read that you would recommend to anyone? On Trails. On Trails, on Trails, on Trails. This book, On Trails by Robert Moore, an exploration. Oh, this book. I think we're getting really into like the heart of my reading now. Like in the real like mountain Pacific Northwest girly kind of thing. I'll just read you the back and we'll talk. But while through hiking the Appalachian Trail from Georgia to Maine, Robert Moore began to wonder about the paths that lie beneath our feet. How do they form? Why do some improve over time while others fade? What makes us follow one or strike off on our own? Over the course of the next 7 years, Moore traveled the globe, exploring trails of all kinds, from minuscule ant trails to sprawling interconnected networks. He learned the tricks of master trail builders, hunted down long-lost Cherokee trails, and traced the origins of the interstate highway and the internet. A talent who's been compared to Annie Dillard, David Quammen, Rebecca Solnit, and Jared Diamond, Moore interweaves his adventures with findings from science, history, and philosophy, exploring how trails help us to understand our world. Yeah, so this book is like philosophical, it's like exciting adventure stories, it's really scientific. I think it also, for him being like a white man, does a pretty good job of like including stories that don't just revolve around the Western world. I mean, I think a lot of the storytelling does happen within the United States, but I don't know. I guess it is a little bit centered on like the global north, but I think that he did a pretty good job, especially like including the stories of like Native American and indigenous peoples in this book. It is one of the books that I dream of writing, because I've always felt like this really interdisciplinary fascination with the world, because I really do think that all of those things, like philosophy and science and history, are all, I mean, they are all interconnected, and I just think this is such an interesting point to approach that consideration of the world from thinking about trails, paths, places we walk, why do we move, how do we move, you know, like obviously this book is not going to be like hysterical, but I just heard just so many amazing things about it, and I almost think now, like, when I went to go see her, it had been before a lot of the loss that I've experienced in the past months, and I'm curious to read this now because it's an experience of her, or a memoir about her experience of her mother's illness and death, and yeah, I'm curious to read it now. The last question is, do you have a particular book that you like to revisit or reread every few years? I don't. I'm not a person who rereads books, generally. I mentioned that I've reread parts of They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us, which is true. But novels, nonfiction books, I don't really go back to. But I read a lot of poetry. And I go back to that a lot. One of the books that I've gone back to the most is this book. And this book is called Salt by Naira Wade. And so this book, okay, it came out around the time that Ruby Kaur, I think it came out before Ruby Kaur got really famous for Milk and Honey. And you know, we could have a whole long conversation about what we think about Ruby Kaur and about Milk and Honey. I don't know. I liked it when it came out, but I think it kind of has like turned into a bit of a meme since then. And you know, we could talk about that for a long time. This book, I think there was a bit of strife with this book and with Milk and Honey because this book came out before it, and is written in a very similar style, with a very, these very short poems, and I've always loved this book. I've always loved her poetry. She also speaks a lot more to her experience of racism in the United States and xenophobia. And this book is so beautiful. I think, like, to me, she hits the mark that I think Ruby Kaur missed. I think some of Ruby Kaur's work feels like a little synthetic in comparison. There will just be these fragments in this book that are just like, that just hit so hard. I've like bookmarked a couple of them. Like this one says, "What can I do when the night comes and I break into stars? Osmosis. Kindness is a form of intelligence. If you deserve honey, mine will flow from my arms to yours. No effort, no asking. But if there is none and you feel wind instead, know that my spirit already senses that when you smell sweetness, you begin harvesting blades in your hands." It's a similar style to Ruby Kaur, but I think that she does it in this much more like heartfelt and much more like raw and vulnerable way that just sits with me with much more longevity than Ruby Kaur's work does. So this is a book that I return to pretty often. Okay, and then we're gonna do a quick little this or that quick fire round. Okay, fiction or non-fiction? Fiction. Hardcover, paperback, romance or thrillers? Romance. Comedy or tragedy? I love a tragedy, let's be real. goofy girl,